My next guest isn't a deranged billionaire, not that one anyway. He just played one on TV.
I'm retiring to an exclusive gated community.
Wow. You're going to Florida?
No, John, an exclusive gated community on Mars. Farewell, Earthlings.
Most of us were first introduced to Brookline native John Hodgman through his roles on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. But before he was an actor, the human embodiment of a Windows computer, or the host of the Judge John Hodgman podcast, and with all due respect, a hot dog is a sandwich. Hodgman was a traffic counter, a cheesemonger, a stockroom attendant, and the author of a number of books, including the New England Book Award winner, Vacation Land. Now he's out with his latest. It's called Medallion Status, True Stories from Secret Rooms. He's shaking his head. I don't know why. John Hodgman, good to see you, John. How are you?
I should walk off this set. A
hot dog thing?
It's not a sandwich.
You ever look at the dictionary, my friend?
Yeah.
Sandwich.
Yeah, there's a lot of words in the dictionary.
And?
They're wrong.
Okay, fine.
Merriam-Webster's been trolling me for years.
Let me tell you, you have other things to explain, if I may.
That's true.
After reading your book, and I hope I'm wrong about this.
You could be.
It appears that you think the two most important things ever said to you were, one, by a gate attendant who said, thank you for being gold, and two, by a woman hosting or at front of a hotel saying, it's John Hodgman. With all due respect, that's rather pathetic. I mean, it is pathetic.
I am an only child who grew up here in Brookline, Massachusetts.
I know that.
Require a fair amount of validation in my life. But, you know, I was never supposed to be on television. If you look at me now, it's like, why is that person on camera? I got kidnapped by Jon Stewart after I promoted my first book on his show. Suddenly was given this very strange and unexpected and frankly implausible career acting and performing comedy on screen. And so I did not expect to walk through life with people saying, it's John Hodgman, as though I were a ghost from their television set.
Okay, but I can accept that. But thank you for being gold.
Oh, I love hearing you say it just now.
We're all obsessed with loyalty programs.
Sure.
Who is not?
Right.
But thank you for being gold. What does that do for you?
When I flew back and forth across the country working on a TV show, I managed to get gold medallion status on Delta Airlines. I didn't even know it until the gate agent checked me in and said, thank you for being gold. And I have to say, I shuddered to my core. I always thought I was gold. I just didn't know anyone could see it.
Maybe it isn't as pathetic as I thought.
Well, one of the things that's interesting about being famous is that people see you. People recognize you and acknowledge you. And a lot of people aren't ever seen in their lives.
When you say one of the advantages of being famous, I thought your whole point in this book is you were fairly famous. Is that not?
I was a very famous minor television person.
Okay, then, so as a very famous minor television person, is that what you just said?
Yes.
You got into a lot of places with a lot of really famous people and famous dogs. I mean, when I saw the cover of this and I saw these two cute little corgis, I figured that was a cute little, just a thing to attract. But you actually had an experience where there were two pretty famous corgis in the room.
I met two famous corgis that changed my life. Their names are Chompers and Linus.
Of course they are.
I'd been performing comedy in San Francisco and invited to a secret party for comedians. Except there are these two people with these two corgis. I didn't know who they were. I thought, who are these comedians with corgis? Who invited them? And my friend said, they're not invited. The corgis are invited. They're very famous corgis of Instagram, and someone's a fan. And that's when I realized, I don't know how entertainment works anymore.
Well, exactly. So, you know, a minute ago we were talking about how the G7 is in 2020 is going to be at the Doral, whatever it is.
Sure.
And you had
that seems on the up and up.
I think it is, actually. You had a fairly not similar. You had a relevant experience. You were on tour with the Boston Pops. I believe I got this right.
That's right.
Gary Keith Lockhart sits there quite regularly. And you go to Florida.
I can feel his warmth.
You can. Yeah. And you brought a friend with you or some such thing. And it appears, this is rather sad too, you and your friend are virtually the only people ever who tried to sneak into Mar-a-Lago who failed.
Yeah,
so
I know.
What was the motivation and why the failure?
Well, you know, I've gotten into a lot of secret rooms and parties in my life. Even the minorest of fame affords you access to things that you'd never believe. But two rooms that I couldn't get into. One was Flagland Base, Scientology World Headquarters in Clearwater, Florida. The other was Mar-a-Lago. My friend David Reese, who was traveling with me on that tour, really wanted to get into both of them. We got scared away from Scientology because they took pictures of us as we were walking around. But Mar-a-Lago was deserted. We probably could have gotten it. We now know that anyone can walk in there.
Spies walk in there.
Easily. But I'm an only child. I was a little nervous about it.
I'm an only child too.
And there was no one home.
Do you not say, whenever you tell somebody you're an only child, and you appear to tell everybody you're an only child.
I'd like you to be known.
When you say that, does everybody not say to you, like they do to me, oh, that explains everything? Or at least has that nod?
I think it does. It explains a lot.
Okay. So you write about every crummy job you ever had. Right? I shouldn't say every job you ever had.
I loved all the jobs.
Okay, and you were a cheesemonger, as I said a while ago. And the reason I bring that up is you had an experience about one of my favorite writers ever, and in part even more favorite because he wrote the theme song to The Wire, which I'm finally watching.
Right.
Down in the Hole.
Yes.
The great
You're
Tom
talking
Waits.
about Tom Waits.
I am indeed.
Two only children talking about Tom Waits.
Do you know Tom
Who would've
Waits,
thought?
by the way?
No, I've never met him.
Okay, nor have I.
Yeah, but I adore him.
Tell the story about cheesemongering and Tom Waits.
I worked as an assistant cheesemonger at a store in London. I was maybe 19 years old. When you work at a store in retail, if you're alone, you put in whatever music you want because you feel like, I'm going to let the world know who I am.
Exactly.
And a beautiful woman came in and she said, I'm buying this cheese, and who is this on the stereo? And I said, oh, well, this is meant to be. You've been waiting to hear this song your entire life. It's Tom Waits' Swordfish Trombone. She said, thank you for letting me know. I just wanted to make sure I never bought it by accident. And she crushed me for no reason, but it reminded me, like, first of all, not everyone loves Tom Waits. Everyone can like what they like.
He's fabulous.
And also, when you have a job, it's not your job to curate culture for people. Sometimes you're just there to sell the cheese.
Point. You know, one last thing. The dreaded local angle is what we try to explore here all the time. We did it with the Boston Pops.
I am the local angle.
I know, you're a Brookline kid.
High School.
Okay, so you wrote about an experience in my hometown of Philadelphia, by the way.
Oh, okay.
You talk about a little sketchy. You get into a cab, and you go on to say it's exactly like the experience you would have in Boston.
Yes.
If the cab driver, rideshare driver, is a white person.
Right.
Now, what is the experience you have?
What I have discovered, and both in Boston and in Philadelphia.
You're turning red here, by the way.
Well, what I've discovered.
Yes, what is it?
Is that if you get into a cab or a hired car, and the driver is a white person, and you're a white person, he will usually presume you're also a racist, and start saying racist things. And that's an uncomfortable ride to have.
Okay, so we don't have time for this, unfortunately.
But one thing about Philadelphia that's not true about Boston.
What's that?
Boy, they're mean.
Yeah.
And it's a city of brotherly hate.
We are mean down there.
Well, I'm a very nice guy. All my comedy is very nerdy. I've only been heckled once. It was in Philadelphia. Guy was drunk off his butt, and he was wearing a Doctor Who scarf. I'm like, you're supposed to be my people.
We don't have time for toilet seats, but you have a brilliant answer today in the New York Times.
Oh, thank you very much.
So people should just go check it out. John Hodgman, your book is fabulous. You're
Thank
pretty
you so
fabulous,
much.
too. Local kid, again, the book again is Medallion Status, True Stories from Secret Rooms. You can catch them tomorrow at 6 o'clock for a drop-in signing at the great Brookline Booksmith.